All right, what is going on, guys? Francis Ngannou has made his return to MMA at the PFL with his defeat of Renan Ferreira via first round KO. I just want to do a brief breakdown of the top three fights on the PFL card, which tonight, this is the best card the PFL has ever put on. I meant to do a breakdown of the only three fights I really gave a shit about. The AJ McKee and Paul Hughes fight was another good fight. That I did watch as well. Went back and rewatched it. But we're going to go over the three championship fights because that's the most important ones for the PFL and talk about what the PFL could possibly do in the future. So, Francis Ngannou wins via first round KO. Essentially, I think it was with the first 30, 45 seconds. Ngannou gets a takedown. Doesn't do a whole lot until he does, pretty much. Ferreira goes for a triangle at one point, and Ngannou gets out of it. Kind of gets Renan Ferreira turtled up, and then just lays vicious ground and pound. Knocks him out cold. This was actually a late stoppage. I don't remember who, if it was PFL or a fan or somebody that was on the other side of the cage. I'm assuming it was the PFL camera crew that got this footage. He was out. He was out cold. Before they, who was that? Dan Margliotta? I think that was Dan Margliotta, and that was the ref. Renan Ferreira was out cold. It should have been stopped as a late stoppage. Very happy for Francis Ngannou. I really wanted him to win this fight. He's coming off that KO loss to, what's the guy's damn name? The boxer. Yeah. Why can't I think of his name? Anthony Joshua. Coming off the KO loss to Anthony Joshua. And I was kind of worried for him. I'm like, it's heavyweight. Anything can happen. But Ngannou showed that he's got, he's got good grappling. He can grapple. I believe he's even in his older age. I believe he's 38 years old. Still showing improvements every time we see him in the octagon or the circle or whatever the hell the PFL uses. Very excited for Francis Ngannou. Get this win. Now, I don't know exactly what's next because although I think it wouldn't have changed. I think it would have been exciting to see him versus Ryan Bader because Ryan Bader was in the UFC. Renan Ferreira has not been in the UFC. He has fought some former UFC fighters, but Ryan Bader is old as well. I think he's 39 or 40 years old. Hell, he could even be 41. I can't remember. But Renan Ferreira, K'd him in the first 30, 40 seconds of his fight. So we can't do that fight. I honestly not too sure what they're going to do with him next. But I'll be excited for whatever it is. I hope he does compete in MMA more. Maybe they'll just do their, tournament bracket, and then the winner will fight Francis Ngannou. I'm not too sure about PFL heavyweights. I know some of the lower weight class fighters, but I'm not too keen on their heavyweight division and who all they have at heavyweight. So anyway, moving on, we can scroll down here. Cyborg defeats, what was her name? Larissa Pacheco. I think that's how you say it, if it loads here. Via decision. This was a good fight. It was essentially 4-1, I believe, if they have the judges' scorecards in the text here. We can read it. I believe it was unanimous decision. Yep. 4-1 Cyborg. I can't remember what round it was, but that Pacheco won. But again, essentially absolute domination. And she, Cyborg's towards the end of her career anyway. I believe she said she has 3 more fights left on her deal. I don't know if that included this one or 3 more fights after this one. There's, again, the problem with the PFL and Bellator is outside of your top few fighters. I know what's the guy's name? Is it Don Davis? President of PFL, saying that they and the UFC both have neck and neck top of the fighters in the world or whatever. The UFC has way more better fighters than the PFL and Bellator does, even combining them together. So again, I don't know what you're going to do for Cyborg because there's not really that many women in the featherweight division in the PFL that are going to pose that much of a challenge to her. She wants big fights. She wants, this was a big fight. This was a good fight. She wants more fights like this. There's really not much else to say at all. We'll move on to Johnny Eblen defeating Fabian Edwards. Funny enough, I saw someone post on Twitter, which, I mean, it's pretty much true, that this was essentially Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards at middleweight. That's pretty much what it was. It was Fabian Edwards getting out grappled and losing. Not much else to say about it. I kind of like how they got their breakdown on the website here. That is pretty cool. But, and again, that's the problem, I think, with the PFL and Bellator. They need to expand their roster more. I know it's hard when everybody wants to get into the UFC. Everybody wants to be a UFC fighter. But they need to expand their roster more to have more challenges for their good champions. Because Johnny Eblen, Francis Ngannou, even Chris Cyborg, they're all very promotable. They just have to have a better marketing team around the PFL. I think PFL Bellator could rival the UFC, but they need to have better promotion and marketing behind their fighters, especially their top ones, like Francis Ngannou. I don't want to say they got lucky, but Francis Ngannou wanted to box. I think if the UFC would have let him have his boxing match against Tyson Fury, just tell him, like, hey, we'll let you do it one time, then you have to come back to MMA and fight Jon Jones. That would have been such a good fight. Because look how that went. You know, he arguably won against Tyson Fury. Let's say he never did the Anthony Joshua boxing match. He arguably won against Tyson Fury, then comes back and fights Jon Jones. I'm just going to go back to the screen real quick because I'm going to be talking about Francis Ngannou some more. I would love, and I know they don't want to do it, I need to see Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou. It is such a compelling matchup because Francis Ngannou definitely has the power advantage and the strength advantage, but Jon Jones definitely has the speed advantage. Definitely the fight IQ goes to Jon Jones. Francis Ngannou does have some wrestling. The BJJ advantage definitely goes to Jon Jones. But could Jon Jones survive the power of Francis Ngannou? Like, if Francis Ngannou can get Jon Jones down, can Jon Jones survive? That is the question I want answered. Unfortunately, though, it's probably never going to happen. Even Francis Ngannou, Tom Aspinall, that would be such a great fight. And I wish we could have had it. I wish promotions would start doing, which, I mean, I guess some of the lower tier promotions have. I can't remember if it was PFL or Bellator versus Ryzen. I can't remember. It happened either last year or the year before last. We need to see, and I know Dana White doesn't give a fuck about these other promotions. I need to see Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones, one of those two or both. That would be such a good fight. And just because the UFC's kind of got to stick up their ass, we couldn't see it. Again, I don't know what they're gonna do. PFL and Bellator. Who are they gonna have Francis Ngannou fight next? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't really fucking pay attention to this stupid shit because I don't like how they do their league. I understand. Oh, you do a fucking tournament and win $1 million. Yeah, that's cool. But this is their top. With this, their heavyweight division. This is their top heavyweights. Let's see what they got here. They got anybody. Thiago Santos is a heavyweight now. Yeah, they don't really have that many 18 and 10. Like, who the fuck is that guy? You know what I mean? Like, they need to develop some talent. Get some names. Get some name value. Don't get freaking old ass Thiago Santos that's washed up. Like, give us some good names. I don't know. Hopefully they develop some talent because I want to see Francis Ngannou versus some good competition. I don't want to see him fight some bums. I'll watch him fight some bums. I'll watch him knock out the bums. I don't think Renan Ferreira is a bum. I do want to point that out. I think he quite easily beats several people in the UFC top 15. Leave that at that. What do you guys think PFL will do Francis Ngannou next? Or Johnny Eblen or Chris Cyborg? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think should be next for Francis Ngannou? I'm excited. Whatever they have him do next, I'm excited for it. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you haven't already. Drop a like on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.